Welcome to the Rustic Garden. Today I want to show you how to seed start herbs and perennials indoors. It's January here. I have about 12 weeks until I can really put plants outside. However, these herbs and the perennial flowers that I want to plant take about 14 to 21 days to germinate. They grow slowly, so I can really start them indoors 12 weeks ahead of time. The first thing that you need to know is seed starting mix like this usually comes in dry quartz. You want to pre-moisten your seed starting mix. This also comes with a fertilizer in it. Some seed starting mixes do, some don't. This is some of the starting mix that I added water to, and I just want to show you the difference. It's really important to add water to your seed starting mix before you start, so that when you put the mix into the starting cells, it will readily and easily absorb water from the bottom. If you put in dry mix into one of these cells, what happens is sometimes it just sort of floats on the water and it doesn't really absorb the water up through the cell, and I've learned that through experience. This is a seed starting mix. This is what it looks like out of the bag, and if you notice when I squeeze it, it doesn't really clump together and it falls apart. The mix that I added water to, if you squeeze it, you might get a drop or two of water coming out. That's perfect, and it clumps together. So make sure you do pre-moisten your seed starting mix. Let me just show you the flats that they're going to go into. This is a cell flat. You can buy this cell flat and cells to go in here for about $4. You can reuse them year after year. One of the things I just want to show you for recycling purposes is after you use them for a while, you can see maybe the corners get worn. So there's holes in these. So you want to make sure you check your flat and that they don't have any holes in it, so when you bottom water, it doesn't pour all over your grow closet or your house. So when you buy a new one, use the old one on the bottom. It'll protect it for years. Between taking in and out of my grow closet and putting it out on my cement steps to harden off, the bottoms wear out and it forms holes. So once you have your cell flat, you take your moistened seed starting mix, take your cell, and you fill it. Once it's filled, make sure you pack it down. If your seed starting mix is put in and just kind of left loose, the seeds can fall down to the bottom and they're not going to really germinate well. So once you pack it down, make sure the bottom of the cell comes down and will sit in your flat and absorb water. Fill it up, press it down a little bit more, and now you have a nice solid planting base for your seeds. And the roots will have a good amount of material to grow into. Now, like I said, the selections of herbs I have are oregano, thyme, sage, rosemary, heliomeris, or golden fields, a perennial flower, and true lavender. They take 14 days to 21 days to germinate. And let me show you a couple of things. Oregano seeds and thyme seeds are really, really fine. So I overplant them. And you can see just how fine these are. And by overplanting, I put, probably 20 to 30 seeds into a cell. Let me show you how I do it with the thyme. The thyme and the oregano get planted the same way. So here's the thyme, and they come in a foil pack too, like the oregano. And what you do is just get a handful. These are just a little bit bigger than oregano. These might get 15 to 20 into there. And you just pinch it on and sprinkle 15 to 20. It doesn't really matter. And if you think about nature, the seed pods on the thyme and oregano and other plants just drop seed to the ground. They seem to do fine. You don't need to put one seed per cell here. Bigger vegetables you do. Or you put in fewer seeds, and I'll show you how to do that too. Once the seeds are on there, you can read the direction on the pack. It may say 1/4 inch and 1/2 inch. I don't worry too much about that. Just mix them in about 1/4 inch or a little bit more, just like that. You're not expecting every seed to germinate. Any big pieces take out. Just mix them in. The only directions on the back of some of the seeds sometimes say press lightly on top. And those are seeds you just put on top, press with your finger. They usually need sunlight to germinate. So once you mix these in, you press them down. You can put a handful of soil on top and just make sure there's good contact between the seed and the starting mix, and this way the seed coat can draw water in and the plant will germinate. Oregano and sage are extremely hardy plants. The roots are very hardy, which means I'll get a lot of growth out of here. I will take the root plug when the plants are about this high, and I'll just tear it apart, and then I will put them into cups, and I will end up with 2 plants. So these 9 cells will get me 18 plants, and if you think about the cost savings, the seeds are only $1, $1.50, you know, 50 cents maybe for all this material. If you buy thyme or you buy oregano as an herb at a store, you're paying $2 or $3 a plant. So for about 50 cents, I'm going to get 18 plants instead of paying out $24. So this is the thyme. I actually did an oregano earlier and a sage earlier. Sage and lavender and rosemary are pretty similar. The sage seeds, let me show you. They're bigger seeds, so you're not going to put 10 to 20 of these into there. You're only going to drop 3. You'll just do, well, let's say I don't need more sage than the cell I did, but I'll just do 1. You just drop in 3 seeds right on top, and then just press it down about 1/4 inch. And then you would just cover it. If more than 1 germinate, and the reason you do 3 seeds is you don't want to be waiting around to see if only 1 seed germinates. Put in 2 or 3. You can either thin out the other one, or you can gently divide the root ball apart, and then you'll end up with 2 plants. Rosemary is another herb that takes up to 21 days to germinate, and I find it does take really long. These seeds are a little bit bigger, and I take a pinch, and the pinch has, let's see, that's about 7 seeds. And I just scatter them around. And I, put in about 5 to 7. And the reason I do that is I just want 1 to germinate. I'll thin out the other one. Sometimes I let 2 plants grow. So that's your rosemary. There's like 5 to 7 seeds in there. Let's see, let me just put these over here and collect them later. So once they're in there, when they're bigger, you can either press them down and get them about 1/4 inch, not too deep. And again, all you want is a firm planting base, moist seed starting mix, and the seed coats will draw the water in and germination will start. So once the rosemary is done, just cover it up. So now we got rosemary, oregano, sage, thyme. The lavender, you plant the same way. These seeds are kind of big. And I'm going to save some video time and skip this, but you plant this just like the rosemary. Now the golden fields is a perennial flower. You can start a lot of perennial flowers early. Carnations take a long time to germinate. These on the back I read take 21 days. So you get these started. And this comes in a foil pack too. Now I've not planted these before, so you I'll take a look. They probably have pretty fine seeds. And the reason these seeds are pretty fine, so I'll take a pinch too and put in about 5 to 7 per cell. Let's see, put them right back in there. And again, put in extra, make sure you get germination. I'm just going to mix these up. They're small enough that it's hard to press each one in. Mix them in about 1/4 of an inch. And then just press it in. Make sure the seed coat makes good contact with the soil. Again, that helps with germination. You can put a thin layer on top. And now I have perennials. And I would just fill this up. This will go into my grow closet. I'll set the light timer and I'll water from the bottom. The reason that you want to water a plant from the bottom is for 2 reasons. If you water from the top, it's going to splash out. Actually 3 reasons. It'll splash out soil, it'll splash out the seeds. It's a lot more time consuming to go and water each separate cell than to just put in water to about 1/4 of the height of the cell here. When you bottom water, it just gets wicked up. If you water from the top, you run the risk of creating an environment that's going to cause damping off disease. And that's the white fungus that grows around the stem of your germinating seeds. It will definitely kill them. You don't want that to happen. So just water from the bottom. If you enjoyed this video, please check out my blog at www.therustedgarden.blogspot.com. I also have 100 garden videos on my YouTube channel. I've also started a Google Plus community called Our Tomato and Vegetable Gardens. If you'd like to join, you can find the link at my YouTube channel, and I invite you to come ask questions and share your knowledge. Thanks.